work on some different ideas that maybe because attitudes have changed so rapidly in the last 24 hours, 48 hours, that we would maybe focus on the points of pranayama that are not so much breath-based. So sometimes you hear the word pranayama and somebody says, pranayama means the breath. And in many circumstances, that's really very true. And when we're working with prana, we're working with life energy. And so when you see a rose growing, it doesn't have breath, right? It doesn't inhale and exhale, at least not in the way that we do, but you know that the rose has prana, you know that it's alive, it's a living thing. And you've known that probably since before someone told you that. You were able to see that and sense it because you recognize aspects of it in yourself, that same prana that you have. Now, in a certain way, there's also prana and things that are sort of lifeless, but that carry a focus on life, like color and experience. Those things all have pranic effect. Anything that nourishes you, that lives inside of sort of the food cell, also has a context of prana, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't have a point, if that makes any sense. We take in energy and we offload waste, and this is part of our pranic cycle. And so we do that with the breath. But, I can't say that I'm going to invite you to an event where we won't breathe, because you're humans, so you're going to breathe in and breathe out no matter what. So that's always happening. But there are other actual actions we can take inside of pranayama. And today I think I'd like to focus mostly on trataka, which is concentrated gazing. So trataka is a form of dharana, a form of focus. Sometimes you'll take an asana or a yoga posture class like vinyasa, and someone will say, focus, your eyes on one spot, dharana, or they'll talk about drishti, where you're looking with your eyes in certain poses. And this is a similar point of that, except for the object is just to teach us how to practice absorption, like bija in pranayama, where you're seeding the breath with an idea or a mantra, like I'm inhaling to be calm and exhaling to be at peace, etc., so on, or I'm inhaling so and exhaling hum. With trataka, we're trying to figure out how to sort of use our visual inlet to understand the pranic energy of the object. So it's often done with the gaze spot of a candle in front of you. Today, I'm actually going to suggest that we pick a spot on the carpet in front of you. But you can really look at anything. You can also look out in the distance if looking down is too much for your neck and just pick something, an inanimate anything, a corner or something. And you can do that in a bit, or I can see you scoping now, so you just scope. And because you're like, oh my God, I'm going to look at this for 10 minutes, what's it going to be like? But that's the thing, is like you'll start to look at it. From what I've read about it in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika and some of the writings of swamis around the idea, is that at first you're just looking at the candle flame, right? You're seeing it. And then you'll start to notice that your eyes get tired from staring down this thing, from concentrating your energy. And when that happens, you'll start to soften the external portion of your visual energy, and it will start to turn into internal portion. Your mind, the visual aspect within your brain, will start to repeat the image even when your eyes are closed, before the view screen of your eyes, as it were. You'll see it again and again. And then you're kind of repeating it, but you're also creating it. You're beginning to manifest the energy of the flame, as it were, with your internal mind. So now the flame is not only external, but it's also happening inside of the mind. Does this make sense? And then the third stage, Ataranga, is the form that's done, the last stage, is your eyes are closed all the way, and maybe time has passed. We might do like another exercise in between, and now you're going to be able to recall that image with eyes closed and focus on it again, creating it over and over again in the view screen of your mind, having not just looked at it at all. And then as you practice over time, you might be able to take this gazing point of view past the things that are not objects, but that instead are ideas, like nobility or peace. And visual outlet is only one source. We'll also do a little bit of sound gazing at the end, to sound of voice, to sound of chant, and to sound of bells and gongs. So you'll have things to focus on, and then there'll be silence. You have the opportunity in that silence to pick a sound to repeat in your mind, to hear, as it were, in the hearless. So this is one of the ways to practice the accomplishment of the yogi, the siddha or the siddhi, of using the senses to create reality. And it can get a little deep, right? So if you start to feel like all of a sudden, like, is there a sound playing, or is it my mind? I mean, like, that's a little trippy and fun. And similarly, like, am I looking at it, or is it in my head? Don't worry too much about when you cross the thresholds, as it were. But if you do happen to notice something like that happens, you're not doing the wrong thing. You don't have to, like, snap yourself back to stage one where you're, like, focused. It's okay to kind of let it get soft and broad in that way. And we'll start as we always do with conscious breathing, which is regular breathing. Notice how it feels. We might do one other breath exercise at the end to settle ourselves down to rest. So they'll all be soft, quiet with natural breath, as long as it feels safe for you. It's safe to do. Cool. All right, I appreciate you all. Let's begin, as is our custom, with 3 rounds of the seed sound of Om. Om is a secular chant acknowledging the interconnection between all things. If oming or chanting isn't for you, feel free to sit with us in presence instead. Otherwise, let the eyes close or gaze down at a spot on the floor. Rest your hands in relative neutral and find softness enough in the spine that you can be tall without being stringent, and be easy without being collapsed. And to clear and prepare the energetic channel of your body, take a big free inhale in through your nose. And open mouth, exhale, HA. Inhale, prepare for Om. Take a long inhale in through your nose. And a slow and soft exhale out through your nose. And allow your breath to soften towards its organic place. In this exercise of conscious breathing, you don't need to change the breath or make it any different. It's an observational practice. With the awareness of your mind's eye, with your ability to feel and observe and listen, begin to notice your natural and organic breath. You might hear it with your external ear, feel it with the proprioceptive sense of your throat and your sinuses, of your belly and your back. For some of us, it can be helpful to tether our awareness with bija. And bija translates to seed. We're trying to seed or plant something, an idea inside of the breath. And that way we sort of have a tether in if we're very mind-focused or brain-focused in that way. So you might take the simplest form of when you inhale, just thinking, oh, now I'm inhaling in. And as you exhale, you go, now I'm exhaling out. You can also take it even to the simple inhale on the inhale in the mind's eye, and exhale on the exhale. You can also just notice. Do you hear the sound of it with your ear? Do you feel it with your body drawing in, a little cooler and a little drier than falling out? Not from the desires to control the breath and pace or to make it better or different. Relax as much as you can without sort of collapsing into nothingness. And try to let the breath be as easy and soft as possible. And even though the breath is of ease, it doesn't mean this practice is easy. You may have to draw your focus back again and again like a boomerang to your breath. Now I'm breathing in, now I'm breathing out. Continue this practice until I ask you to change or ask you to stop. continue to absorb your awareness into the experience of your organic breath, notice any tendencies of tension that sneak in. Often whatever tenses, when we get tense in life, we'll tense when we're trying to be relaxed. The neck, the shoulders, the jaw, maybe the viscera of the belly cleans back, or the floor of the pelvis rises up. Well, as you go through, it can be nice to create touchstones from time to time to think, are things still relaxed in my face? Is my tongue heavy? And if there's a little space to re-slacken and hang again, do. And then the same modality, though most of us need to seek more rest and ease. If you find you're sort of slumped or have physically collapsed or maybe lost the pointedness of your focus, you always can sort of reset back towards as much structure as is required for you as well. You know, we balance structure and ease in pranayama as much as in asana. And anytime you drift, bring yourself back again and again. Even if you drift to judgment or decision making, even if you run down your entire grocery list before you get to realize that you're doing it, whenever you do realize, draw yourself back again. Continue to breathe in the form of the conscious breath. And as you continue to practice the conscious breath, just a little bit of space for heart focus, for loving kindness. You might also listen and feel for the sound of your organic heartbeat in your chest and your blood moving in your veins. You might imagine, like any force of liquid moving, and sometimes it's a very soft pouring and cooling, and sort of the golden water of your blood moving through your body. And then the heartbeat can be something that is also at ease, just slowly pulsing. And really your whole arterial system softly pulsing this sort of golden pranic fluid of your blood through your body. You might imagine with every gentle pulse, a sense of calm and cleansing, washing or rinsing through your physical effect. And that the source of that water, while being pumped by your heart, actually comes from your breath. It's the pranic valve of inhaling and exhaling. Even here at this organic, unmanipulated, sort of low dole of the spout, there's that steady drip from the faucet. Still creating effect. Keeping the subtlest pulse of life energy moving. You might allow yourself to experience that subtlety as a form of calm, allowing your nervous system to relax in that idea of rinsing and floating, and the subtle I amness of your heart beating in your chest, and the steadiness of forward rhythm. process of your breath. Take an exhale. Take a slow inhale in through your nose. Slow the breath down as it fills through your torso. And hold it softly and mostly full. And take a slow exhale out through your nose. And gently let some light into your eyes. Let them flutter open. You're welcome to shift your seat. Always the recommendation is to try to set yourself up to sit in a way that feels good for you. You can always sit on a chair or sit in a way that isn't a seat. You can lie on your back or your side. In general, it's good to work a little stamina of stillness, but if you come across things being stuck or it starts to feel like you're doing violence to yourself, shift. Today, because we will do some longer exercises of gazing, definitely feel free to shift and stretch in between. We're going to start with our Trataka, our gaze practice. I'm going to turn on a little bit of a timer so I know how long we're doing it for. But as you sit up, let's do a little bit of kind, gentle tilting of the head side to side. You can go front to back, but you can start really small in the range of motion, so you're just going easy. And then try not to hold the breath while you do this. And then you, if it feels good, you can drop the chin, either lift back up to neutral or go a little bit back if it feels good or when it feels good. Just go back and forth. You might inhale, chin up, and exhale, chin down, or inhale, chin to neutral, and exhale, chin down. And keep going side to side, going back and forth is not for you. Then with head at relative neutral, chin at relative neutral, slowly turn from side to side in your neck. And slowly come back side to side orbit, come back to center. And gaze out on the horizon and pick a spot for your Trataka practice, for your gaze practice. And as you pick this spot, let it be something you feel like you can sustain on. So you'll just spend the first 20 or so seconds finding something that you don't associate much with. So if it's an overall object, you might hone in on one point, one sort of like a piece of lint on the ground, as it were, one sort of a spot in the paint on the wall is a good idea. Once you've fixed your gaze, start to let the gaze be relatively soft and clear. Allow your body to become relaxed as you gaze at this one spot. Let yourself blink as normally as you ever do. The idea of Trataka is that as we see an object in Prakriti, in nature, our seeing ability, our perception ability eventually liberates or frees this object from Prakriti and puts it into our little piece of Purusha, right? We're able to use our sort of form of self to manifest the pranic or energetic form of the thing that we are seeing. So as you see it, you might play around with looking through it almost like you could see between the atoms, between the molecules, between the quarks. Like you could see the very energy that holds the mass of your object together, that holds matter into form shape. Continue this practice until I ask you to change or ask you to stop. to absorb your focus in the object of your gaze. Scan the body. Where are you holding tension and you can relax? Where does a little bit of structural requirement need to be created so that other things can come to ease? Now relax your throat and any sense of pressure in your lungs and diaphragm so you can continue to have free and easy organic breath. Continuing your practice gazing. Notice as you continue to gaze in relaxed form, the quality of the gaze has changed. If there's blur or shift, if the background feels further away, perhaps the object seems closer or further. Just notice. And continue to allow your experience to unfold as it's unfolded. We're about halfway through our time in this open-eyed form of gazing. Sometimes as our point of logistical vision softens, we even sort of start to see energy and light act in different ways, the objects in the periphery, from the object that we're seeing. Not always, but notice what do you see. And can you allow yourself to see the truth of it, without trying to reinterpret it or clear it or make it any different or better. Anytime you're distracted, your sensation in the body, by idea, let that distraction be. If you need to address, you need to change or shift, let yourself change and shift while still continuing to leave some of your focus in this visual point of gaze. In just about 1 more minute, over the course of this last open-eyed minute, you might start to notice your blinking, your natural blinking, and every once in a while, let a blink intentionally pause and shut down a little longer. In that time, practice seeing the point of your focus in front of your closed eyes. Maybe not every time the eyes are closed. And start to practice these little touchstones. Seeing. And seeing with the mind. next 2 or 3 times that you let your eyes close and you feel like you've got a pretty clear image of that point of focus, let your eyes remain closed. And continue to see the image of your point of focus in the eye of your mind. In a certain way, you might think of the backs of your eyelids like a movie screen, and like the image that the projector is playing has the image that your eyes were seeing in front of you. In a certain way, it's a little bit like how your eyes work anyway. And anytime you notice yourself, especially visually focusing on anything else, like the spots at the backs of your eyes, etc., and so on, try to go back to that image, your point of focus. Notice when you drift. Even if you have to take external action to shift and be compassionate with your experience, draw yourself back again and again. Almost until it's mundane, boring. See this image in the eye of your mind. Almost until you don't have to do any work anymore. The image is just there in front of you. At least that's the idea. As you continue to repeat this point of focus in the eye of your mind, this visual gaze plane, I'm going to ask you to make an attempt to associate or to add an idea, or almost a seed, to the image, a bija of kindness. Compassion and kindness, the great space makers, allow room to hold all realities and truths all at once, even when they diverge against one another. You might feel in your body as you gaze at this image where you hold kindness, where it feels for you, what it feels like for you when you are on the receiving end of wanted and freely given kindness. And continue to feel that feeling as you see in the eye of your mind your point of focus. And you might allow that to fall away and begin to notice in your body that it feels like when you imagine the experience of giving kindness. You might even practice a kind thought for someone or something. And where do you feel that kindness in your experience? In the body, in the energy body, in the mind? And this is the Shukshma form, and the subtle form of Trataka, gazing on something that is subtle, something that is unseeable. You see the image in the logistical eye of your mind, of your point of focus. Associate that point of focus with kindness. Continue this practice until I ask you to change or ask you to stop. And then seek relaxation where you can find it in the body. Focus your internal gaze on kindness. Wherever you are in the cycle of your breath, take a long inhale in through your nose. And open mouth exhale. Inhale slow in through your nose, Ujjayi. Exhale slow out through your nose, Ujjayi. And gently put some light into your eyes. You can flutter them open. Let's do a little bit of light kriya, a little bit of stretching together. So take your legs out in front, put the soles of your feet on the ground. You're welcome to take your hands behind you and just drop your legs from side to side a couple of times. Let your hips have a little release. Lift your heart up and hang your head back if you're showing your face to the sun. Neither the legs out long, perhaps when it's convenient to refold the legs, let's do a little twisting. You can use an inhale to reach up and then twist to the right. Move your right hand behind you. And breath by breath, twist from the bottom of your ribs as opposed to the back of your neck spine. And then back through center. Inhale to reach up and go the other way and twist over to the left. And just let it be enough pressure that things can unwind. Doesn't need to be super deep to be effective. Come back through center, bend your knees. Grab behind your knees or around the tops and take an inhale to lift your chest up. A little bit like cow pose if you've done that one. And exhale to round in if you're trying to bring your forehead towards your knees. Inhale. Lift your heart up. You can also lean back and straighten your arms if it feels good. And exhale, bend the elbows and round in. A few more times like that in your own timing with your own breath. And slowly return to neutral. Now we're going to do our last sort of breath-based action. With neutral breath, with very soft ujjayi in and out through the nose, we're going to do a form of nadi shodhana. And the nadis are the cycles of the body, and the shodhana is to clean or to clear, or to sort of scrub clean, which is like a nice idea right now. But really what we're doing with Nadi Shodhana is balancing. We're balancing polarities. And remember that chaos is chaos is chaos. Chaos is always chaos. Even if you feel more chaotic in this moment or this time, neutral is still the same neutral, because chaos is always the same math equation. And it's always the same level of chaotic. So remember that coming to neutral, the work of the pranayami or the work of the yogi or the sadhaka, is the same, regardless of how far out the extremes are. For this one, I'll offer a little hand gesture if you'd like. The hands on the thighs are resting where they're comfortable with the palms up. Instead of manipulating the nose like we often do, you'll hold the hands in this way and open and close them when the nostrils are open and closed. This can actually affect how this action affects in the heart chakra as we run down our nadis into the hands and into the lungs. And that same context can also go along with sort of training the energy of the mind. So whenever you're inhaling in through the left, your hand will stay open. You'll close it when you exhale through the right. And then you'll inhale through the right, and you'll close it when you exhale through the left. So we'll close whenever we're exhaling. It doesn't have to be super tight, it can be really soft, opening and closing. And if that starts to feel like too much, you can also just do it with the tips of your index finger and thumb. Or let it go altogether. Close the eyes or gaze down at one spot on the earth in front of you. And take a slow inhale in through your nose. Like a snake, hiss out the exhales. Again, inhale in through your nose. Hiss the exhale out. Draw the inhale in through the nose like Ujjayi Pranayama, the upward liberating breath. And sigh the exhale out through the nose, Ujjayi Pranayama. And we'll prepare for Nadi Shodhana, for the reverse nostril breathing and nostril clearing or Nadi cleansing breath. Exhale the air you have in your body. And breathe in through your left nostril. Hold it full. Close your left hand and breathe out through your right nostril. With your right palm open, breathe in through your right nostril. Close the right hand, open the left, breathe out through the left nostril. With left palm open, breathe in through your left nostril slow. Close the left hand, open the right, and breathe out through the right nostril. And continue in this pattern on your own, breathing in and out. Of course, without manipulating, most of us will be breathing in through both nostrils a little bit. The context of the focus is the point of view. And over time, with training, I'm told that you will be able to limit without external manipulation, the breath in and out through one circuit or the other. Continue this practice of Nadi Shodhana until I ask you to change or ask you to stop. continue this practice of balancing, of Nadi Shodhana. Notice any tension that's crept into your body or your affect or your attitude. Remember that this external work of seeking relaxation, even if the internal work is still very bright, it feels like the inside of the house is on fire, still continue to allow yourself to soften from this external point of view. A reminder again and again, almost like someone externally is reminding you everything's going to be okay. I think that's the idea, again and again, of resetting your body to remind your psyche, to remind your deep self of that context, and perhaps to drop the echo right down the well of the self and hear it come back up at you from the internal point of view again and again. A few more moments here of Nadi Shodhana in your own way. Next time, when you exhale through the left nostril, let your Nadi Shodhana go. Let your breath take its own soft path to settle down towards neutral. And in the eye of your mind, see your point of focus. Feel kindness. Begin to practice Trataka again. Focus in the eye of your mind on the image of that single point and its association with kindness. Allow kindness to manifest before your closed eyes. Wherever you are in your breath, take a deep inhale in through your nose. Open mouth, exhale, HA. In through the nose. Hiss out like a snake. Ujjayi in through your nose. Ujjayi out through your nose. Gently soften your eyes so they can open a little bit. Let some light in. We'll set up for resting. You're welcome to move a little. You can rest in a seat or lie down. I'm going to dim down the lights a little bit in this space. We'll rest with a little bit of guidance today. So I'll make a few sounds, truly, and ask you to associate them perhaps with your auditory gaze, your ability to hear and associate. And I'll ask you to rest in silence after that and to have picked one of those sounds to focus on. And perhaps to recreate it in your mind, or just to allow silence to occur if that's what is needed for you. Begin to listen to the sounds of the bells. And as you hear this sound, begin to manifest in your body and in the eye of your mind, Akasha, the context of space. Feel space within your body, within your lungs, your ribs, space within your mind. Notice your sense of space around you. Associate the sense of sound with the sense of space. Practice the listening gaze of space. Now as the sound slows, it falls to silence. Continue to hear the sound of the bells. Continue to hear Akasha, to hear space. Play the sound of the crystal bowl, which resonates with the chakra of the heart. Listen for the sound of the bowl. to hear love. And today I'm going to call you out slowly with the Sahana Vavatu chant, the chant about learning togetherness. Perhaps with the sound of the chant, you might hear empathy or community or togetherness. A lot of the Sanskrit words in it mean together. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasti Navadi Tamastu Mavit Vashavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Little by slowly begin to return to your breath and let it deepen a little bit. Rise your awareness back towards waking life. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes and scrunch and spread your face a little bit. You're lying on the back. Take the next 5 or so breaths to draw your knees into your chest. Roll onto one side and just slowly press to a seat. And today, I offer that we seal our practice together with one round of the seed sound of Om. Exhale the air you have in your lungs. Take a deep inhale in through your nose. Open mouth, HA. Inhale for Om. Thank you. That chant basically means may we together be brilliant, may we together be at peace, may we not dispute or argue with one another, and may the work we do together be for the greater benefit of all mankind and of all the earth. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you and your work. Stay well, and if you have any questions, always reach out. Otherwise, you might honor your work by drawing your thumbs to your third eye and acknowledging that your mind must bow to the work of the heart and connection, and bow to yourself to seal your practice. Thank you all. Take your time winding and getting up. I'm going to hop up rather quickly to let folks in for the next class, but I appreciate you, and I hope it was interesting, if not occasionally frustrating, to do this slightly different practice. And thank you for letting me be a part of it and be with you in this time. I am so grateful to be with others. Thank you.